As you know, we fix people's credit so they can live the life that they truly deserve. And today, or Monday, somebody watching asked the question, why are there 3 bureaus and why do they all have different scores? And so we're going to talk about that today. Let's answer first, why are there 3 bureaus? The bottom line is all these bureaus are separate. They're separate entities. Experian is actually a British company. It's not American. Equifax and TransUnion are both American. TransUnion actually started out as a railroad company and somehow ended up being a credit company. But the truth is they're all separate, and they don't have anything to do with each other. And there actually are more credit bureaus than those 3. Those are the big 3. Those are the 3 that, you know, people are paying attention to. If somebody pulls your credit for you to get a mortgage, they're looking at those 3. But there are other bureaus, CoreLogic, Innovus, LexisNexis. There are several other bureaus, SageStream. They all keep information in different ways. But those are the big 3 that you're going to pay attention to. You know, if like I say, if a mortgage company pulls your credit, and they give you your credit report, it's going to show your scores from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and they're all going to be different. And there's a reason for that, why they're going to be different. So there's a couple different reasons why they're going to be different. So the scores that come from the big 3, those are called Vantage scores. And what a Vantage score is there's a company called FICO, Fair Isaac Corporations. You know, lots of times you hear about your FICO score, FICO score, FICO score, and that's true. Most mortgage companies are going to use FICO to determine whether or not you can get a mortgage and buy a house. What a Vantage score is that the 3 bureaus were, you know, selling data to FICO. FICO was selling the credit scores, and the bureaus decided that since, you know, we're the ones with all the data, we should create our own credit scores. So in 2006, they came up with the Vantage score. So some reasons why they are different. Credit bureaus are aggregators of data. That's what they are. They are aggregators of data. So a credit bureau, they keep on file for you about 300 different pieces of information. Of those, you know, your name, your address, social security number, but other things too is like they keep record of when your accounts were open, when they were closed, what date, you know, what months they were late, if they were collections, if they were charged off, if there were bankruptcies. But there are approximately 300 pieces of information that each bureau keeps about you. And believe me, they got a file on you. If you want to really see something crazy, go pull your LexisNexis report. I'll guarantee you it's 300 pages long. LexisNexis has even more information on you than the credit bureaus do. But as far as the differences in the scores, okay, so each credit bureau, even though they came up, you know, together they came up with what they call the Vantage score. But they all calculate that differently. They all have a different algorithm that they use to calculate that number. So in theory, that number should be fairly close, but sometimes that number can be off by 100 points or more. And here's why that number can be so far off between the bureaus. So let's say that you had a car that was repossessed, okay? You lost your job during COVID, you couldn't make your car payments anymore, they come and take your car. And let's just say it was GMC financing. So, so there is no legal obligation for them to report that information to all 3 bureaus. They don't have to report it to any bureaus, quite frankly, but they can definitely report it to 1 or 2 or 3. So let's say they only report it to Equifax and not to Experian and TransUnion. So this major derogatory is only reporting on one credit bureau, it would not be unusual for that particular score to be 100 points less than the other two. That's fairly common, actually, believe it or not. It's more common really with medical collections. A lot of medical collections, you'll only see them on one or two bureaus. You won't see them across all three. And of course, so that, the information that is being reported to the bureaus is different. Therefore, the scores come out different. And that's why. Some more things on that is no creditor or collection agency is required to report anything to any credit bureau. So that is totally not true. So I know for a fact that people will call and talk to their creditors and say, if I pay this off, can you take it off my credit report? And they say, oh no, we can't do that. That's against the law. They are lying to you so hard right through the phone. They're lying to you. Or you might say, hey, I had 2 late payments on my car a year ago. Can you just remove those late payments? And they're going to say, oh no, we can't do that. It's against the law for us to remove those late payments. We have to report everything accurately. And the truth is they do have to report everything accurately, but they don't have to report everything. That is absolutely not true. And honestly, the person that's answering that phone, when they answer it, it's just some worker sitting in a cubicle somewhere wearing a headset, and they're looking at a script on it, and that script says, tell them that it's against the law to remove this stuff from their credit reports. So I'm not saying the people answering the phone are bad people. I'm saying they're just doing their job. But the truth is that's a lie, a big lie. They can remove anything from your credit report that they choose to. And so it's worth it. It's worth it to go through the dispute process. It's worth it to give them a call and see what you can do if you've got derogatory accounts on your credit reports. Sometimes you just got to keep trying to get to the right person, the right supervisor up the chain who actually understands law and understands what they can and can't do. Let's talk about the credit bureaus again, just a little bit. The credit bureaus, like I said, there's 3 different credit bureaus. They're all separate. And what they are is they're aggregators of data. And so what happens with these differences in scores, even if you had everything reported, let's say you had 5 derogatory accounts and they were reported to all 3 credit bureaus. So, the derogatory part is being reported evenly across the board. There's still going to be differences in those credit scores. Number one, the 3 credit bureaus use different algorithms. But if a company is using FICO and they pull your data, like there's not really a credit score from the credit bureau, there's just data. And so the people using FICO, they go to the credit bureaus, they pull that data, and then the FICO calculation spits out a number, your credit score. And the FICO calculation is different than the Vantage score calculation. And then not only that, there are several different versions of FICO. So you could get a FICO pulled at one mortgage company and not like that and go somewhere else the next day and get another FICO pulled, and it could be different because they're using different versions of the FICO. So there's really, like I said, the credit bureaus are keeping like 300 pieces of information on you. There's also about 300 different ways to pull and calculate your credit. For instance, if the way that your credit score is calculated, if you are applying to get your teeth pulled and you're at the dentist office, then they are going to offer you credit, versus if you apply for a credit card, versus if you apply to buy a car, versus if you apply for a mortgage to buy a house. All of those are going to be calculated differently, all going to be different credit scores. So that's your answer, Jeanette, for why there are 3 bureaus and why the scores are all different. That is the official answer. As always, if you have questions, I will answer them. If you need to talk to us, please call us at 888-610-7366 or visit our website, www.citizencreditsolutions.com. So that's the lesson for today. I hope y'all got something out of that. we will be back on Friday. So until then, peace, love, and